Alright, hello everyone, my name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, a site for legacy death and taxes. Today we're going to be continuing our testing of the London Mulligan, and we're going to be playing Aluren. Recently, Golgari Graveboy donated in order to see this deck list in action, and thank you for that, by the way. For anyone unfamiliar with the general concept, what Aluren does is it allows everyone to cast creature spells with CMC 3 or less for free, and as if they had flash. So what you want to do with this deck is use Parasitic Strix a whole bunch of times. So when this enters the battlefield, if you control a black permanent, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And if you have Cavern Harpy, you return a blue. When it enters the battlefield, you get to return a blue or black creature you control to its owner's hand. Or not you get to, like, you have to. That's the downside of this. And you can pay 1 life to return this to its owner's hand. The idea being that you use Parasitic Strix, gain 2 life, Cavern Harpy, bounce it for 1 life, and then every time you do this loop, your opponent loses 2, and you end up 1 life ahead. So it's sort of an infinite combo deck if you have Aluren, Cavern Harpy, and Parasitic Strix. But most of the time, it's actually just a mid-range deck. Most of the time, you don't win by comboing off, you just win by burying your opponents in cards. Baleful Strix and Shardless Agent, as well as Recruiter of the Guard, just make it so you have a stream of stuff to do. So this is the 4-color version, so it is playing Recruiter of the Guard, which is, I won't say stock, but common. Less common is a Stoneforge Mystic package. So to really, like, go and, like, bully some of those, like, fair mid-range decks, like, we just have killer equipment. So if there's a true name on the other side of the table, don't worry, get Sword of Fire and Ice. If you're playing against Death and Taxes, like, Baleful Strix into Jisei is probably going to be pretty devastating. If you take a look at the main deck, though, we are light against opposing combo. Against opposing combo decks, the only things that we have that we care about are Force of Wills. So this is a deck that you play to bully fair decks. If your opponent is on a fair blue deck, you probably win. If your opponent's on a combo deck, we're going to hope that the sideboard cards do enough. So generally speaking, the sideboard cards are almost entirely combo hate. Like, there's a handful of cards for fair matchups, but like 9 of the 12 are really there for the unfair matchups, with like some overlap in other matchups, obviously. Like the Carpet of Flowers should allow you to go faster versus blue-based combo and just give you like additional acceleration into like an Aluren. You've got some Hate Bears, some Graveyard Hate, some Hand Disruption. And then you've got like some of these have overlap versus some combo decks, right? Like Knight of Autumn's fine against Show and Tell, Assassin's Trophy is good against like a Merit Lodge-based deck, and so forth. So, I'm going to just, like, come out and say this right at the beginning. I have never played a white version of this deck. I have only played the bug version, and I have played, like, somewhere between 3 and 6 rounds with this deck total. So I'm not necessarily going to be an Aluren master here, but I'm looking forward to having some fun. Alright, construct a tournament. Leagues. Let's battle. Yeah, like, a Noble Hierarch into a Shardless Agent always feels good. Almost as good as Deathrite Shaman into Shardless Agent, but, you know, they don't let us play with that anymore. Probably for good reason. The gap between Eric and everyone else is just absurd. I haven't been playing much Magic. I've been playing a lot of Slay the Spire. That game is really fun. Been messing around with that in my off time rather than jamming games. I recently decided I wasn't going to go to the GP. I had other things that I needed to focus on this week, you know, like getting a new job, that sort of thing. And I figured that should probably take priority. I recognize this name. I feel like it's a D&T player. Maybe Stoneblade. The hand's not exciting, but I'll be keeping it. Oh. Well, it's Reanimator, so we're going to lose game 1. It was funny. I was just talking with some of the legacy grinders about how, like, people were playing against Red-Black Reanimator in, like, 5 of 10 rounds that they would go and play on Magic Online. And I think it was Max was just like, you know, it's really died down a lot. It's okay now. And then we, like, queue into it first. It's disappointing. Oh, it's just a Chancellor. And my opponent is giving me a Recruiter. Well, this is actually fine. Like, a Baleful Strix will be fine against that. Or, like, Manivore, bounce it to their hand. Okay, note, I'm not making a mistake. I know exactly what I'm doing here. I am clearing the Chancellor trigger from the beginning of the game. So now I just need them to, like, not top deck a discard spell. There we go. Of course. Alright. Well, this is strong. So I'll leave the Strix on top here. So there's one more land under this. I don't really want to draw that, so I will go ahead and fetch. Blue. Black. Alright. So, they're not in fantastic shape. We're not at a win or anything yet, but I'm in a good position. So the reason I'm playing out this Aluren is so that I can go and essentially use this to cheat mana. So I know I can do this at instant speed, but I'm just going to do it now. And just, like... Alright, so I have to cast with Aluren. There's going to be a lot of clicking through these triggers. Jitte. I guess we'll take that. Do I need to equip Jitte to anything for any reason? No, probably not. I can, like, equip it to something and get 2 counters, which I can then use to, like, try and attack through this. So if I throw it on Recruiter, I can attack in for 2, get 2 Jitte counters, and then the next turn I can attack him with Shardless Agent for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then my opponent can't actually block it. Yeah. There is a world where, like, I actually don't want to make this attack. But I think I'm fine with trying to press my advantage and actually go after my opponent's life total. Alright, so an Eternal Witness can get back a Baleful Strix. Nice. I can just, like, do that at instant speed. Or I can Eternal Witness, get back Recruiter of the Guard, get Cavern Harpy. Cavern Harpy can't bounce Recruiter of the Guard, though, right? Let me double check that. So, yeah, it can only bounce a blue or a black creature. It's unfortunate, but I think okay. Oh, okay. The answer's easy. I figured it out. I had to think about which Legacy All-Star I needed in order to win in this situation. The answer, obviously, was Man of War. Yeah. Okay. Did not expect to win that game. Like, I feel lucky to win a game 1 versus Reanimator. So, basically, anything that's disruptive, I want. I might even go so deep as to, like, play some of these cards even though, like, they're clearly suboptimal. Alright, let's figure out what I don't want. Like, let's use that as a starting point. So Sword's bad, Jitte's bad, Stoneforge bad. Let's get those out of there. Abrupt Decays are pretty weak. They can hit Animate Deads, but, like, if you hit an Animate Dead that's on a Grizzlebrand, you know, the damage is already probably done. I have not seen many of the Magus of the Moon builds lately. That's, like, much older tech. So we got kind of lucky by winning that one since I went all in on a mediocre creature that was beatable by a 1/1. I hope to do so again. Our blue count for Force of Will is a little lower than I'd like, but don't think there's much I can do about that. Feel like I can trim like one recruiter or one Aluren, just like trim something that's towards the top end of the curve. I think I'm going to keep all three of the Alurens in case we run into that exact same scenario that we saw last game, and then whack the submit button. So this hand is just like turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 Brainstorm or Ponder and try to do something. I think I'm going to mulligan this and just like try to find something that like has a piece of initial interaction. It's not like this hand is terrible, and against a fair deck I'd keep it in a heartbeat, but I think we can do better here. Yikes. Well, this has no mana, so I can't keep it. Jeez. I'll be keeping this hand. So our opponent has kept a 5-card hand. I'll keep 5 of these. I'm going to ship the Forest and the Aluren. So our opponent has mulled to 5 and is still going to produce a turn 2 idiot. Okay. So, like, luckily it's a weak idiot. So if I get a third land, like, we just run into the same scenario as last game. But I do need something to clear out this initial trigger. You're 1 turn too late, friend. I think I'm just going down this game. I am going to Force of Will this purely to get the trigger out of the hand. Like, to clear off this initial trigger. Oh yeah, it does not feel good. But I need to, like, play towards my outs. Alright, now please let me rip the land so I can feel justified for doing that. No. At least I get to ponder into the land. Please? Please? Nope. Please, I have so many outs. Just give me a land next turn. Well, that's almost it. That's a little frustrating. If I had more lands to board in, I probably wouldn't board in anymore, but, you know, I understand the anecdote. But I just hope it's not, like, 5 rounds of, like, me getting bullied by Red-Black Reanimator tonight. Don't know. Don't know that I'll be a happy camper if that's what actually occurs. I just want to cast all these mid-range derpy value cards and have fun. Well, I'm going to keep that. I can brainstorm for a Force of Will or a Surgical if my opponent tries to go off. And otherwise I have Thalia on turn 2, which is pretty annoying. And hypothetically, if I draw a land, Thalia into Leovold is kind of a weird thing. Alright, opening on Chancellor for the 3rd game in a row. Well, now I'm gonna, like, throw away this Brainstorm and do nothing with it, just to clear the Chancellor trigger. Nice. So I can get a Tundra with this, and then I'll have blue, black, green next turn for Leovold. Alright. So hopefully they don't actually have a land, because then I don't know how I can lose. Black, blue, green, Leovold, whack with Thalia. So I actually don't care too much about a Grizzlebrand getting in play because I have this Swords of Plowshares. Oh my god, they actually don't have a land. Wow! I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, so I just, like, turn dudes sideways. I don't know how my opponent gets out of this. Like, they have to go, like, land into Lotus Petal to have a chance. But then, yeah. Yeah, I straight up feel like we played a cube deck, right? Like, these are all singletons. We didn't do any of these twice, except the Brainstorm, but ignore that. Alright, well, I made my complaints about seeing a bunch of red-black Reanimator, and then we bullied it with a deck that, like, should have folded to it. So, +1 to morale. Although, to be honest, like, I don't really know why our opponent kept their hand. Like, how close were you to going off that you were willing to keep the no-lander there? We're playing against M. Blanco. Maybe Delver, maybe Storm. I'll keep this. It's a fair hand. Much better against Delver than Storm. We're kind of a dog to Storm in game 1. Oh man, am I getting stifled? I mean, I basically have to force that, unfortunately. And note that I pitched the Jace so that I wasn't just, like, dead if my opponent forced back. I'm going to have a lot of cards this game. Joxmar8, thank you very much for continuing your support. 12 months is an insane amount of time, so thank you for that. And you know what? Let's just get that out of there, too. Yeah, and if my opponent has a Daze, I'd much rather they use it on not my Baleful Strix. We're just going to play around Stifle. I know that opens us up to Wasteland, but, like, you can't have it all. I'm actually not too worried about something like Young Pyromancer in this deck, because I'm going to gum up the board pretty well. What would I recruit her for if I recruit her? Oh, just a Stoneforge Mystic. I guess that's a little soft to stifle, but, like, they can only have so many stifles. Alright, let's run this out here. See what happens. And we will do the slow death. I'm still going to attack in with this. I'm going to take a little bit back on the crackback from the elementals here. But that's fine. Black, blue, let's get a Cavern RP. So many dazes. Alright, do you have a 4th daze? I mean, it can be a Pierce or a Force of Will or whatever. God! Yes, you do have the 4th daze. I'm going to go ahead and stop attacking with these. I might have to trade them for some elementals. I'm going to go ahead and trade these, try to preserve my life total, and I need to draw a land. 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6, 7. Yeah, that's the tipping point there. I'm not coming back from that, but, like, you're not going to beat a Delver deck when they have 4 dazes most of the time, so, like, it is what it is. That's a little frustrating. But, like, now I know that I need to play around Stifle, so some of that surprise factor is gone. Alright, I like Golgari Charm. I like an extra removal spell. I like Swords to Plowshares. It's even possible that I'll just, like, board in something like Thalia, because the damage that it does to them will be much greater than the damage it does to me. I can also consider something like Carpet of Flowers, but I like that better against, like, blue control or blue mid-range decks. I'm not sure if it's actually good enough versus Delver. That's unclear to me. Alright, so let's figure out what I don't want. I don't want Forces. I don't want that card Disadvantage. I just want to, like, play mid-range cards and hope to beat my opponent. Yeah, Toxic Deluge is probably good enough, too. So I don't see Jace being necessary. I think I can probably trim an Aluren safely. Oh, that would just be 60 right there. Then that's probably fine. Like, I would consider Carpet of Flowers, but I don't know what I would cut. Like, Recruiter of the Guard is slow and of an off-mana color, but still quite good. 60 Accidental Perfection. Alright, I'm with that. We'll hit Submit. See how it goes. I'm not sure to what extent I'll actually be able to, like, fetch my basic lands. Because while I do have 3 basics, like, if you look at the color intensity of the symbols that I've got going on here, there's really a lot happening. Like, we're a bug deck primarily. All the white stuff is sort of ancillary. Yes, I would like to play first. So I will keep this. I'll probably ignore this white card. And just try to fetch basics for the first half of this game. Alright, so now I get to fetch Swamp into Baleful Strix. And all my primary colors are handled. And it'll just be like Recruiter, Swords to Plowshares, Thalia, Stoneforge that isn't initially handled. So the subscribers get a shield next to their name. So if you are subscribed to my channel, you get a shield and the shield changes color over time as you're here longer. Alright, if my opponent doesn't have a counterspell, then I want to resolve Leovold this turn. So I think I'm just going to, like, play towards that. Nice. Yeah, so the little symbols, the badges, I believe is the Twitch lingo, are customized per channel. I'm not much of an artist, so I just, like, took Thalia's shield that I have from some of my art that someone made for me and scaled it down. Yes, I would like to draw a card. Alright, so I'd like to cast multiple spells this turn. I can do that with Shardless Agent, or I can do that with Noble Hierarch and Ponder. I think just about anything I can play is good, so I'm just going to Shardless Agent. I don't really know what of this is good enough to brainstorm in response for, but I don't know what my opponent has over there, so... maybe they would Spell Pierce a Ponder. Nope. So I want this sword. Yeah, so Egget last stream, I think it was, went and gifted a bunch of subscriptions to people. So that might have been Egget. I need a little more land, but I definitely have the tools to win this one. I am a little worried about just getting tempoed out here. If I play this Shardless Agent, I'll just hit Brainstorm. I don't really want to hit that. Because well, maybe I do. If there's land below it, then I do want to hit it. Well, we're just kind of getting started, Pseudo, so we just beat Black-Red Reanimator, and it looks like we're about to die to Delver. So, no comment yet on, the viability of Aluren in this metagame. Alright, so we did hit land. So if I block Young Pyromancer, I'm still going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I do need to do something else. So I will need to play Noble Hierarch. Alright, so I think I'm dead. But we'll play as if we aren't. Oh, so on the London Mulligan in general, there's been a lot of Black-Red Reanimator online. So this will keep me alive, but I will fold to, like, literally any spell. The goal is to top deck Savannah and go for the win. The goal is brainstorm into Toxic Deluge and kill myself. Womp, womp, womp. So, in all seriousness, though, my testing with Red Prison showed me that Red Prison can do some really, really stupid things under this Mulligan rule. And by extension, any sort of Chalice deck has the... Or, even more broadly, any deck that is reliant heavily on 1 to 2 card combos really improves under this Mulligan rule. The top 16 from the Legacy Challenge looks pretty healthy, but I don't necessarily know that, like, one tournament that looks healthy is really indicative of format health. Like, it's very early to tell. And it's kind of frustrating because, like, I don't know that the metagame right now on Magic Online is anywhere near what it would actually be if things calm down. Because, like, you got people who are trying to use it to test for the GP, but it's a different Mulligan rule than what it actually would be. So are you playing, you know, the cards that you want to be playing for the GP or the cards that you would be playing if the Mulligan rule changed? I think there's a lot of, like, topsy-turvy stuff going on there. Alright. Oh boy. So we are going to go and play against Arkin. I'll be keeping this. I'm going to hope that Arkin's playing something fair. Well, I guess that is technically my wish, but, like, these Noble Hierarchs feel real bad now. It's kind of funny because, like, Chalice is not particularly good against this deck. But we have a hand that Chalice is just insane against. I'm guessing that Arkin's on, like, White Eldrazi or something like that, if there's, like, no play yet. He might be cut off from white mana, but he kept this hand because it can turn 1 Chalice. Alright. Seems like my prediction was accurate. So we're going to be Shardless Agenting and really hoping to hit a land. Get an underground sea with one of these. Guess we can pick up a white-blue with the other. Green, blue, white. If we hit a spell here, we can't actually cast it. This is cute. So it's going to return itself to its hand. I mean, this is technically better than a miss off Shardless Agent, because it's like we played a 3-mana 2/2 draw card, but your opponent gets to see what the card is. Thought-Knots here is kind of annoying, but it's not, like, fatal or anything. I agree with that take. Yeah. So how am I winning this game before just getting aggroed out? This doesn't have flash, unfortunately, so it can't, like, block and then return it. I guess I'm just, like, rebuying my Shardless Agent this turn. It just feels very bad. Like, I'm losing board position to do this. Yeah, I don't think I can beat that now. So if I block the Thought-Knot and I take 7, I'll go to 9. And then I'm just dead on board even if I top deck Aluren because I can't cast it. If I don't take it, I take 13 and then I'm dead to like everything. So I've got to chump. And I don't even think I'm going to pay the life to return it. Yeah, okay, I can't beat that. BMC Grail, I'm going to point to my friend Chalice of the Void right here. And then I'm going to concede. Well, I guess I don't have to concede. I guess I drew a green source, so I can, like, try to Shardless Agent into some magical card that I'm not sure what it is. Well, so I can't actually cast that due to Thalia, so I'll concede. I technically go to 1 if I chump block the Thought-Knots here, but, like, the damage is done. I'm dead. Like, I can't top deck and Aluren and win or anything. Alright, so you're playing against White Eldrazi. So I want swords. Probably want these two. Probably want this. Probably want this. Would consider Bitter Blossom for chump blockers. What don't I want? I don't want my draws to be clunky. That's what I don't want. Leovold, not fantastic here. You know, fine against Wastelands, otherwise pretty weak. Can technically do something against Displacer, but like so many of my creatures have ETB triggers that I don't really care about that. Probably send the Jace away. Not super in love with Force of Will either. But if I board all of those out, what do I want in place of it? That's unclear. So I guess I would keep one of these. But keeping one force seems really loose. But I don't want like a Thallium or Leovolt's hard to cast. I could just Bitter Blossom when I'm on the play. Alright, I don't hate that. I hope our opponent thinks that Chalice is way better against us than it actually is. Like, it was great against us that time, but we don't actually have that many 1-drops, so it's totally fine. Like, I'd be very happy to see Chalices come down in these games. This is not an objectively good hand, but I will go ahead and keep it. Like, I have a play turn 1 through 4, assuming that I get 1 land, and I have a Brainstorm that can let me respond to whatever my opponent is doing first. I won't really care about a Chalice of the Void. Yeah, that's fine. I don't even think I'm going to Brainstorm yet. Okay, that's a little brutal. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put back a Recruiter. And 1 land. Play this. Give up my plan of fetching purely basics so that I can ponder. These cards are fine. Can I undo that? I can't undo that. I should have done that in the other order to play around Thought-Knot-Seer better, but it is what it is. Yeah, so I don't care about that. That part's a little frustrating. But whatever. So I actually would be very happy if he just went like Soul Land, Pump Ballista, kill Stoneforge. Like, that is a trade that very, very much favors me. That is more annoying. So I actually probably just want to kill the Ballista here. Because I can't combo off through this very easily. And, like, the Ballista can keep growing. We're taking the body off the battlefield, so, like, this will leave my opponent with 1 Jitte counter. And that's totally fine. I should maybe even So if I top deck a land, I can just combo off. Recruiter of the Guard. Yeah. But in order to combo off, I would need to kill the Jitte. So I should probably just pass the turn after playing a land. Well, that's going to slow me down, because I will have to answer that. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, like it's not a problem. Like I'm going to answer that quote quote problem now. And then I've got Assassin's Trophy to take care of the Jitte. Let's figure out if I can just, like, win through this. Bet I can. I don't know how exactly, but I'll figure it out. So probably go on like a value train where I just cast some of these for free. Wait, did Argon just concede? Wasn't 100% sure if I could win there. So I'm happy about that. I'll take that. Do I want to change anything? When I'm on the draw, do I want to have some Force of Wills? I don't hate it. Like, the Golgari Charm is probably medium. Bitter Blossom is probably medium. Is there anything else that I would rather not have in the deck? I could just trim on some of my manipulations. It's bad against both, like, Thalia and Chalice. So what's this put my blue count at? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. Not stellar. But it's only down 4 from what it normally is, so that's probably not the end of the world. This is a 1-land hand. I think I keep it since I have the force. Like I can force pitch a shardless. Do I care? Do I care? My hand is almost entirely creature cards right now, but I really want to brainstorm to find lands. I will care. All right. So we have multiple Strixes to just deal with that, so this is fine. I wouldn't counter that given the opportunity to at this stage. So I'll send back the Strix, I'm not ready for that, and I'll send back one land, which I'm fine redrawing. Savannah can't cast a Strix, so let's not do that. Let's do Bayou instead. So we're hoping our opponent doesn't have something like Walking Ballista. Sorcerer Spyglass is fine. I have fetch lands with different names, so if they name one of those, I don't care. If he just goes and names one of my win condition pieces, I can just, like, try to deal with this before my opponent goes off. So, like, that's totally fine as well. Probably a tough choice for my opponent, because, like, yeah. There has to be a respect of the equipment cards that I have in hand. Canonist. Alright. So I don't feel like I am in immediate danger. I think I just want to play another one of these. Nice. And I'm even going to make a cheeky attack in. Because I don't think my opponent wants to trade either one of their creatures for a Strix at this time. Oh man, so glad that Chalice went on 1 rather than 2. Alright. So I think I want to decay the Canonist so that I can play 2 spells. So one of these needs to be white. So I'll grab a Savannah. And then I guess I'll just get a Trop. that jitte that they were scared of, and swing in with one bird. That's a fine line as well. Like, it's probably just a better line, if I'm being completely honest. So now I think I have lethal. So I have 3, 4, 5 on board, 6, 7 with the sword trigger. So I can Assassin's Trophy, Reality Smasher, give them a land, and then have the win. Oh. Oh, geez. It's going to be very close to me being dead. That's 9, and I'm at 10. My opponent in chat said, 1 life, ... Alright, so I have 3, 4, 5. I have 6 damage. I can hit my opponent to 1. What will I die to? I will die to Walking Ballista. I will die to another Reality Smasher. Or will I die to Reality Smasher? So I could go Baleful Strix attack, hit for 5, put them to 2. If my opponent plays a Reality Smasher, I could move my sword to the other Baleful Strix in order to play around that. I could block, trade with 1 Reality Smasher, Assassin's Trophy the other, discard a card, and then I can play around a top deck Smasher. I think that's my line. This is 2 mana for trophy. Move the sword here. Leaving open green-black. I think I've got it. Whew. And we got the GGs. So opponent could have had 1, 2. So 1, 2. Opponent could have had a 3-3 ballista. Yeah, that kills me. That wasn't beatable. All right, 2-1, up a match. Let's see what we can do with this. Aluren feeling okay so far. Our 2 wins. We maybe got a little lucky. Like, we needed to dodge the ballista there. And I don't know how we beat Black-Red Reanimator. Like, I don't understand our round 1 opponent's Mulligan decision where they kept, like, a 7 and did nothing with it on the play. Like, that was just rough. Oh, the deck's super fun. Alright, so we're going to be playing against Maverick. I will keep this. We're going to try to make this look like the Maverick mirror for the first turn or so. I'm going to hope for a Brainstorm off my Shardless Agent to throw back some of these lands. Like, I have too many, and this Force of Will isn't amazing either. Oh, wow. My opponent has Mulligan to 5. I could, like, lead this game on all basics. But I think since I'm land heavy currently, I'm just going to, like, hedge towards my opponent. Like, destroying some of them and using their time to do that. I also don't necessarily want to just go and burn my... Yeah, Mom's fine. I'm not going to care about that with this sort of deck. Yikes. I was about to say, I don't really want to go and burn my fetches prior to a Brainstorm. Alright. So, green, blue. Alright, well, I need gas. I need gas very badly. But I have a lot of sweet top decks. Sort of Fire and Ice is interesting. Ugh. Yikes. This brainstorm, this hypothetical brainstorm is very important to my mental health right now. Man. Can I cast this? I can see casting this being an absolute disaster. Where they just, like, end of turn, night-night, and I somehow die. So I don't think I can cast this yet. So I have hard cast Force of Will available. That is my best play, as of right now. And I will chump block here. It's just strictly better than not doing so. Alright, we're just gonna like lose due to flooding out terribly. I'm not gonna attack in a Scrib Ranger there. Like, I know I kept a hand that was a little mana heavy, but this is rough. Do. This is probably a pause to decide whether or not it's worth wastelanding me. Kind of gotta hope here. Unfortunately, that didn't really get me anywhere. Luckily, my opponent doesn't have more creatures. Like, there's not knights or anything like that. But life is grim. Even with this Jitte here, it's not necessarily going to actually mean that I can do anything. I'm also just under a huge amount of pressure. We'll put that there and pretend that that action does something, but it does not. Are there more creatures? No. So I'm taking 3, 4, 5, 6 damage in all likelihood. So I'm not dead. But I'm in very, very, very bad shape. What is this? A green sun? Sure. A Rex Sage, I assume. Blow up my Jitte. Or maybe blow up my Aluren. Yeah. Okay, I don't think I can beat that. I guess I can take one more draw step to see, but I flooded out very badly there. So I guess I could chump block the Thalia, but I don't think that matters. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's probably no difference between the life total numbers here. Either I find some magical way to win this turn or I'm dead. I don't even know what card that would be. Alright, that was brutal. I do think I'm fine in fighting a matchup like this one. I just think I flooded that time, and there was just very little I could do about that. So I'll probably be looking at something like these coming in. I probably won't play a Rest in Peace to shrink the Knights. I'll plan on handling them with Death Touch. But I will think about it at the very least. So I probably don't want to be playing the Forces. Leovold is of limited utility. So I won't board that in. And maybe I'm getting too ambitious with the Bitter Blossom. I'm fine playing against mid-range decks like Maverick. The awkward part is, the combo portion is a little bit scary, because when I give them, if I just cast an Aluren and I don't go off, things can go wrong for me, because they get a lot of value out of this as well. This is another one of those hands like before. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. And now I just have another hand where I'm probably going to flood out. This is disappointing. But I think I have to keep it. And send back one of the lands. Probably send back the Tundra. Really hoping our opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play. Or at least not one that particularly matters. Well, let's see if we just draw a bunch more lands. So I think I care about Strix and Stoneforge here. But unfortunately, I can't take both of those. Because I have to fetch in order to play the Strix. So which one of these do I value more, the Strix or the Stoneforge? I think the Stoneforge and try to get out ahead. So I think I'm going to intend on fetching away my forest, and I'll put the Stoneforge on top. They'll probably take the Strix. If they do, I just jam Stoneforge. Nope. Sure, Royal Assassin, but I think I need to be using my mana efficiently in this matchup or I'm going to fall behind. So I could brainstorm for an answer to that. But if I do, I can't Strix afterwards. And I think I would rather Strix and just try to connect in the air next turn. Well, my mana base is super awkward. I could potentially just take over this game if I get another land. Oh shit. I'm not playing well here. I'm going to go ahead and just concede this one here. I'm sort of frustrated at myself for a bad play, and I don't think I'm clawing myself out of that one. So I'm just going to take a break, refresh myself, walk around a bit, and try to shake that one off. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Going into our last round here, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick ad read while we're queuing. So note that the next couple of things that I'm going to say here, they are sponsored content, so I'm being paid to say the following. Alright, so this stream is brought to you in part by Underdoge, that is UNDERDOGE, underdoge.com. So they are a site which goes and tries to hook you up with new streamers. There's a lot of people streaming on Twitch, and a lot of times, only the biggest and, best people get attention. So what Underdoge does is they go and try to connect you with new streamers. So every day they have a streamer of the day that is featured, and you can go and check them out every day. So they're kind of, sort of a up-and-coming, website/blog sort of thing, gamers for gamers sort of thing. So if you're looking for some new people to watch stream, check out underdoge.com. Alright, and sponsored content. We are playing against Lucker Dog. No data on them. I think my hand's pretty mediocre. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan and just try to find something that can interact a little better in the early game. I like this hand better. I'm going to go ahead and ship back the island. Opponent has just paused on the end step here. Don't really know why. Don't think there's anything they can really do. Alright, so that's happening again. So 2 of our 5 rounds tonight will be versus Red-Black Reanimator. I don't really care, but it's just kind of frustrating that I'm playing a deck that can't really beat it game 1 under reasonable circumstances, and we queue into it twice. Yeah, that's to be expected. And do they just have the turn 1/2? Put me out of my misery? You have 2 choices. Swamp, Badlands. You might have some weird sideboard lands over there. Lands for sideboard cards. Alright, Cabal Therapy, target themselves, put some idiot into the graveyard. What do you got for me? So I guess I can, like, technically animate dead the... or abrupt decay the animate dead. And force them to use reanimate. Yeah. So I think I need to hold up the abrupt decay to force them to reanimate rather than animate dead. Playing the Stoneforge doesn't really get me anywhere anyway. Yep. Alright, they have drawn cards. That probably means that the game is over. Their hand needs to be very weak, and I need to get very lucky in order to win from here. Like, I'd have to top deck a Baleful Strix to hold that thing back, and my opponent would need to not have ways to, like, get that Tide Spout in play and start bouncing my stuff. So that'll name the Abrupt Decay. Now I can't answer the Animate Dead. Alright, do your worst. Oh, that's actually not that bad for me. So now they'll just discard the Tide Spout. Hey! That's a thing. So I'll need a white source with one of these, potentially. I'm going to want two of these to be green. So I can get like a Bayou with this one. An Underground Sea with the last one. Now I go green, black, blue for Leovold. Stems some of the bleeding here. I'm still needing a lot off the top of the deck. And for the rest of my opponent's hand to be weak, but now at least I might get to draw some cards from this Tidespout Tyrant rather than just being dead. Please don't, like, Dark Ritual, though. Because if it's just bounce the Leovold, that's not that big of a deal. And in fact, could actually be actively good. But if it's like Dark Ritual into a couple of things, bounce my lands, I can't possibly win. Can't even see what spell that is. Cabal Therapy, target me. So then this trigger can bounce the Leovold, and then they can name Leovold with Cabal Therapy if they'd like. Those aren't the sort of cards that I want. Alright, so they have just chosen to bounce my land. So then I guess they'll name Aluren with this. So that I can't combo kill them. Yep. Nice. We just got 7 free points of damage there. Like, our opponent missed an attack in with a Grizzlebrand. That's fantastic for me. I don't think it matters, but it's fantastic for me. There's now a world where, like, my opponent attacks in with Grizzlebrand, draws 7, somehow leaves the Leovold in play, and I put a sword on it. I guess there's worlds where I get out of this because my opponent chose the line that they did. Alright. Well, Leovold's going back. I can't stop that. I can stop the next thing that happens. The Entomb can happen. I don't care about that. It's just another Grizzlebrand, which seems weird to me. It seems like that would be a perfect time to put a Chancellor into the graveyard. So I think I'm just dead on board to the creatures, regardless of, like, what I draw. I can't get 2 mana in this turn to go Sword Equip, kill if they draw 7. But maybe they don't know, like, what removal I play. Ball Therapy target me. I guess I'll force that. I assume they can just, like, reproduce a Grizzlebrand. And everything that I'm doing is meaningless. Yeah. Alright. Let's move on to the next one here. Alright, so what did I do before? These came in. I need that as well. Rest in peace, Thalia. Those are fine. Golgari Charm could technically answer something, but I don't think I want to do that. Assassin's Trophy is fine. And these are cards that I could play, but they're not exactly fantastic. Like, all of these kind of fall into that pile, where I probably won't actually play them. Alright, what's bad? Stoneforge Package is bad. Don't necessarily want that stuff. And I cut the decays before. And then I think I trimmed a Recruiter. Just because they're slow and off color. That looks right to me. Again, I don't really like my positioning for this matchup. I only have 2 pieces of Graveyard Hate. I have 4 Force of Wills. and a couple of hate bears. Like, I think we got very lucky to win before. Sorry I don't have a lot of, like, oomph here, but, you know, we've kind of gotten pounded on this league. Been on the wrong side of variance for when we were in the fair matchups that we wanted to play. Like, we just, like, have flooded out or drawn the wrong part of the deck a lot. I'm not feeling like this is very consistent, which is weird. Well, this is a very awkward hand. I'm going to keep it, but I can't actually go turn 1 Thoughtseize into turn 2 Thalia without drawing another land. But I think this is the sort of hand that can get there. Alright, my opponent has mulliganed. I can play turn 1 Noble Hierarch, and then play turn 2 Thoughtseize and Thalia. That I can do. Like, I can do that off of a Bayou safely. Although I probably wouldn't play this on turn 1. I'd probably, like, if I was going to take that line, I'd go Trop into Noble Hierarch. How many white lands do I have that I can spike? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have 13 hits to be able to just do this naturally. There's a decent number of hits. Alright, my opponent has played a Chancellor. Which means I probably just need to throw away my Noble Hierarch to that card so that I can make a meaningful turn 2 play of Thalia. Alright, And we're going to lose this game. We had turn 1 disruption that got shut off by Chancellor. And we just effectively lose the game on turn 1. That's really frustrating. And like now our opponent will probably get to like unmask us as well. So I can't even like have the potential of Thalia afterwards. Nope. Yeah, for everyone kind of wondering why everyone was talking so much about Black-Red Reanimator in regards to the London Mulligan, this is it. This is what everyone was afraid of. Like, I kept a hand with a good 1-2 punch. Admittedly, some of the mana was loose, but neither one of these came down. Yeah, he mulliganed. So he mulliganed to 6, kept a 6 with, produced turn 1 Grizzlebrand with Chancellor. So I didn't get to play Thoughtseize on 1, I had to throw away a Hierarch. And then the Thalia comes down too late. So I've just lost to the big old demon. And now I'm basically locked into casting this Brainstorm and dropping my guards on the Force of Will. And now I'm Brainstorm locked, and I can't beat the Grizzlebrand. It will just kill me before I can do anything about it. Alright. Womp womp. One too many winners. Alright. So this deck did not feel good tonight. Part of that was because we played against Black-Red Reanimator twice, and we're very much not set up to beat combo decks. But more generally, I kind of felt like I was tripping all over myself tonight. Like, the 4-color mana gate base definitely had many issues throughout the night. I don't really know that this is any better than just the straight bug version. I don't really know that, like, these, 7 cards are worth the cost that goes into deck building. Because one of the biggest strengths of Aluren has always been that it's a combo deck with a great mid-range plan and a solid mana base. But I had mana problems many matches throughout the night. And I don't know that, like, a couple of sideboard cards that could reasonably be other things is worth making the mana base so much rougher. You know, like, Rest in Peace can be more copies of Surgical. Thalia's can be more Thoughtseize or some other, bear. Even if it's something like Kitesail Freebooter or something like that, There are options there. You can play a Dismember over a Swords to Plowshares or play, a 4th Decay, a 2nd Assassin's Trophy. I don't think it's worth going into the 4th color for. I also don't think that this is a deck that feels safe for Magic Online right now. It's kind of the Wild West out there right now. People are trying all sorts of things. I'm fine against, like, the Chalice decks that people are jamming, If your opponents are playing Chalice and Eldrazi and you're playing, Strix and Decays and stuff like that, you come ahead in that equation. But against, like, the combo decks like Sneak and Show and Blackbird Reanimator, I just don't feel like I have enough disruption, even after the post-sideboard games, that I feel confident in a lot of those matchups. So I think that's all I have to say about this deck. Very great boy, thank you for the donation. I'm sorry we kind of got just beat up tonight. It was maybe not the best time to bring this one out from the woodwork and give it a go. Maybe we'll have to try Aluren again some other time on stream. So thank you all for joining. I'm probably not going to end up streaming Wednesday. Bob has asked me to help him do some play testing before the GP. So that is probably going to take my Magic Online time on Wednesday. But I'll be back Saturday morning, and I'm not sure what I'll be playing, but if you want to dictate what's going to be on stream, feel free to throw $12 or 12 ticks my way, and I'd be happy to feature one of your decks on the stream. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight, and take care.